Welcome to the Wilentz School faculty meeting for January 30th. For our faculty meeting, we're going to take a little tour of the country while I'm talking about the things we want to discuss for the meeting. The reason we're doing a video, I know some staff are going to be at department meetings and will not be able to attend, so let's start out at the Golden Gate Bridge. And I'll talk about some of the items. First, we're going to have a social studies pilot. Wilentz School will be piloting a social studies program. The materials are in. As soon as the stations are set up, we're going to ask teachers to come in and take a look at the social studies materials. And we'll ask you to evaluate the materials so we can decide what we'd like to put in place for next year for our social studies program. Along those lines, departmentalization. If any teachers want to pair up, I discussed this before, to departmentalize where the one staff member will do the language arts, the social studies, and the writing, and the other staff member will focus on the mathematics block and the science areas. So if you want to do that, please do so. If you'd like to have a grade change for next year, I said grade change, not grade change, oh my gosh. If you want to have a grade change for next year, fix that. Let us know. We are preparing the budget. So we're going to try and give preference, try is the key word, give preference to those individuals who want to go to a different grade level, teach on a different grade level, but please be aware that's going to be dictated by our enrollment. So although you may not make the request, we may have to make that change and have some staff on a different grade level. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but while we talked about departmentalization and movement, if anyone's seen it behind me, I don't know if you know what road that is, but that's certainly not New Jersey. And if you can identify that, you let us know. We're going to continue along that roadway when we talk about student use of the bathroom, sign in, sign out. We've had some bathroom issues in terms of graffiti and some of our young men inappropriately using the urinals in the inappropriate way. So if our students are not sure how to use those facilities, please document that. We will try and track down those students who need some assistance through the sign-in and sign-out procedure when we find out something is wrong, either graffiti in the bathroom or a similar situation. Continuing on the road, shelter training for teachers. We have some of our teachers that are leaving us this year. They are PSYOP trained. We're looking for teachers. Oh, my radio's going off. Again, shelter training for teachers. If you're interested in this training, please submit your name to Ms. Martinez and Ms. Padilla in the front office. They will compose a list, and that'll be turned over to the Vice Principal and myself for those teachers who want to do PSYOP training. We're not sure when this is going to be conducted. Of course, if it is during the summer, we will pay people to attend those trainings. Okay, moving on. We're moving on throughout the country and into faculty meetings. So we're going to take a look at Mount Rushmore. And while we're talking about Mount Rushmore, we're going to talk about a meeting, and in particular a morning meeting. Even if you're not trained in responsive classrooms, talk to the staff who are doing this and see if you can conduct a morning meeting. I am willing to grant time. If you need it, I will cover your class so you can observe some time of a morning meeting in any classroom that is doing this, and the teachers are responsive classroom training. Ultimately, we want to have as many staff responsive classroom trained as possible, and along our social emotional learning avenues, we want to have morning meeting. I'm getting a sign, hold on. No! Sorry. All right, last part of our journey along Mount Rushmore is pest control. Again, if there are issues with pest control, not just log it in the book, but also please let an administrator know about that. Okay, moving on. We're moving on to a little unusual environment, and I don't know if anyone's had a chance to visit there, but you get a little picture of the video. It's Ruby Falls, and it's one of the largest underground waterfalls in the country. And along those lines, I want to talk about medication and teacher referrals. We are not medical doctors, and if there's any situations regarding medication, please refer that to the nurses. The nurses are the only ones in the building who can administer medication to students. Please do not give the students cough drops if they are coughing. Do not give the students anything. Have the nurse handle those matters, all matters related to medication. Also, please refrain from meeting with parents and saying, is the child having or taking medication? That's not to be discussed with the parents. Please talk that over with administration. Emergency card liability, make sure emergency cards are up to date. Make sure the nurse has the original copy of the emergency card. Also, teachers, your emergency cards, in the event there's an emergency for a teacher, please make sure all your information is up to date. Next item on the list is CUME folders. Do not throw anything out of a CUME folder. Do not remove CUME folders from the office. If you need to handle CUME folders, do that in the conference room. Okay, now let's take a little trip down the East Coast to Florida. We're going to go to Disney. Pick up and drop off of classes on time. Again, please, to the cafeteria on time, pick up your classes because other classes are waiting to come in. Physical education, art, all the specials. Please make sure you're bringing your classes down on time and picking the classes up on time. We don't have a passing time built into the schedule, but let's try and do that as efficiently as possible. Next item is attendance. Whenever students are absent, the primary focus is that of the teacher to notify the parent. After 4 absences, of course, you're going to notify the homeschool liaison, but be sure you're informing the parent of these absences, and then let Mr. Rivera know that in handling the absences, you've also notified the parent so he is aware. Teachers are the point of first contact on absences, so make sure you are addressing that. Next item, while we're there, anytime you go to these amusement parks, there's a no smoking area. Well, you may not smoke on school grounds at any time. This includes the parking lot and sidewalk outside of school. That's on the back of the school. You can cross the street, but if you're in the back of the school on the sidewalk or you're on the parking lot, that is school grounds. You're not permitted to smoke in those areas. Last item while we're at Disney is make sure you close the doors behind you. There was an incident. I was called very early in the morning, about 2:35 in the morning, telling me the alarm was going off. I reported to school, and it was a very windy day, and apparently what happened was the door was not fully secure, and between the difference of pressures inside and outside the building, it managed to jar the door loose, and it triggered the alarm. So let's make sure the door is securely closed behind us. I always say 2 clicks. That first little click you hear is just maybe the latch. Give the door a push, make sure it's closed securely. We're now moving on to New Jersey. Six Flags Great Adventure. Go. Missed prep should state why the prep was missed. Most of you are doing it, but I never want to do it. If it's a missed prep for music, please write that. If it's a missed prep for art, physical education, please write down what the nature of the missed prep was related to. I have to sign off on payroll, and if it just says missed prep, I'm probably going to take that element of payroll back to you and ask you to tell me what it was for. Discipline reports, that's going to be handled by the vice principal. When you're filing a DCP&P report, as we're moving on, you might notice the background. Everybody's going to notice where we are now. When filing a DCP&P report, please give the form to an administrator after you complete the report. The administrator notifies the police. You don't make the police call, so make sure that form is in the hands of an administrator as soon as you complete the report. We have a situation with 310 with the clock out times. I have a majority of our staff occupying the front hallway. I have parents coming in, I have vendors coming in, I have other staff from other buildings coming in. Do me a favor, please do not crowd that front office. Stay off to one of the side hallways so the traffic is clear in the front, and at a clock out time, everyone can proceed to the front office. Quiet times in the hallway. Position yourselves in the middle of your classes. I should not have to be in the hallway, nor any administrator in the hallway, asking classes to be quiet. Set up the parameters for your class. If you do that properly, when kids are passing, they know they're in the hallway. No one's going to do any talking. Better to station yourself in the middle so you can see the front and end of the line. 504 accommodations will be talked about by the vice principal. I goofed. CUME folder is going to be talked about by the vice principal. And grading policy, will be talked about by the vice principal. One other item, we're experiencing problems with our Brightlink projectors. We are ordering Brightlink projectors for those projectors that are no longer functioning. However, please make sure at the end of the day your Brightlink projector is turned off. Okay, that's all I have for right now. Mr. Tavi Jacobs is going to pick it up with the remainder of the meeting, and I hope you enjoyed our little tour.
Hello everybody. As you know, we're taking a grand tour around, I guess, the United States. Behind me, hopefully there's a winter wonderland. I would like to thank everyone once again for making our winter wonderland dance, anti-bullying dance, such a success. Whether you donated a case of water, a case of juice, cookies, something, or you're donating your time or decorations, I would like to personally thank you on behalf of our school climate team and administration. These are things that our students will remember besides the education that they're receiving, but they will remember things that took place as well, such as this dance. That was wonderful. Thank you very much. Mr. Anderson mentioned grading policy that I'm going to go over. Teachers grading, our semester is ending officially, so please be sure when you put in the grade that the student received, and Infinite will do its magic and calculate it and do what it has to do, and the child will eventually fail if that's what it needs to be done. But put in the grade that you wish the child to receive or the child received in that classwork or the test or that assessment, so forth and so on, and Infinite Campus should be doing its magic. I will be emailing the grading policy again because there is one. Cue folders. Please, 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 oh please, do not throw anything out of the cue folders. If you have a doubt of what should be taken out, or if something should be taken out, or you say, wow, this is very old, please be sure to see Ms. Gladys Fuentes or administration, but you should be seeing our secretary, Ms. Fuentes. There might be a reason why there's documentation of 2014 in the CUE. Please do not throw anything out of the CUE folders. Discipline reports. It is very important that we get to see discipline reports. Sometimes Mr. Anderson is walking around the building, sometimes I'm walking around the building, I'm on a different case of some sort, and I might not get to see the discipline referral form. Please try not to leave it in the mailbox. My mailbox especially, I tend to see them at the end of the day, and that's probably too late to adhere to some type of discipline. So please be sure that you hand them physically to an administrator, if not to a secretary. So like Ms. Padilla or Ms. Martinez, who's usually in the front in the main office, so then that way we can get some resolution with that discipline report. 504s. We just finished taking a benchmark. It is very important that you know that 504s are legal documents. If it says on the legal document of the 504 that the child gets extended time, the student must get extended time. If your class is not receiving extended time, him staying in your room for extended time is not good. They should be actually pulled out and receive that extended time with another adult. That way we make sure that everyone is covered and is adhering to the 504. That also includes for our sheltered students in sheltered classrooms. They also receive extended time. Them staying in your classroom during a benchmark and you trying to give them extended time is not a good thing. Have one of the intervention teachers or the ESL teacher pull them out so they can receive that modification, or accommodation rather. So be sure that you remember 504s are legal documents. Well, this is it. Thank you very much and have a good afternoon.